Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about Muls, how to roll one up, the advantages of playing one, and what makes them different from all other Dark Sun and D&D races. Before I go any further, however, I need to address the pronunciation of the word Mul. As you can see here on page 14 of the Dark Sun Rules book, the word Mul is pronounced with the long U sound, meaning the proper pronunciation is Mule. This is not, as you may have noticed, how many people in the Dark Sun community, including myself, say the word. My reasoning for that is this. There is already a creature known for its strength and endurance that is sterile, named a mule, spelled with an E, in D&D and the real world, as shown here in the Monsters Manual on page 194. Calling them by that name is too on the nose for my taste, so in this video you'll hear me pronounce it as Mul.
Now I'd like to take a few seconds to talk about how you can help this channel and Dark House Rules Games, my design studio, provide you with high quality game products and informational videos more often. To skip this part and get straight to the video, just click on the chapter title reference in the video description. First, I would like to thank everyone for their support so far. Even video likes and comments are a big help. Right now, my efforts with this channel and Dark House Rules Games are relegated to my free time, so my release schedule is slow at the moment. Outside of the videos you see here, I'm also writing and illustrating the city-state of Balik, and putting out the Champion of the Month, drawing new art, making new game tokens, and writing ready-to-use character sheets for each of the champions of Rajat who were active during the Decade of Heroes. One of the easiest ways you can support these products is also free. You can sign up for the Dark House Rules Games newsletter, see link in the video description. From that you will receive free game accessories and news about what I'm working on. If you want to make a big difference in my release schedule and the quality of the products I produce, you can directly support my work by subscribing to either my Patreon or Subscribestar pages. For less than 33 cents a day, you can not only help ensure more great products, but you will get access to scores of gaming accessories, with more being added monthly. Everything from game art to new magic items, NPCs, monsters, and battle maps. For about 65 cents a day, you can also get your hands on original adventures. The links to my newsletter, Subscribestar, and Patreon pages can be found in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support. I look forward to making great game products for you. Now back to the video.
This is the 5th video in my series about the playable races of Athas. The reference materials I used to make this video were the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition Dungeon Master Guide, 2100, the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition Player's Handbook, 2101, the Complete Psionics Handbook, 2117, the original Dark Sun Campaign Box Set, 2400, the Dark Sun Campaign Box Set Expanded and Revised, 2438, the Monsters Compendium number 12, Dark Sun Appendix number 1, Terrors of the Desert, 2405, the Dark Sun Compendium Monsters Appendix number 2, Terrors Beyond Tier, 2433, The Will and the Way, 2431, and Book 2 of the Prism Pentad, The Crimson Legion, 2403. Now let's explore what makes Muls unique and different from any other race, even for example, half-orcs. Let's start with a physical description. Muls of both sexes are powerfully built specimens by their nature. They are the result of interbreeding between humans and dwarves. Although not quite as heavily muscled as their dwarf ancestors, they put humans to shame, weighing in from 185 to 320 pounds. Muls tend to be taller than both their dwarf and human forebears, even if only marginally in the case of humans. Their height ranges from 5'7" to 6'6". Muls have a variety of skin tones that range from golden brown to olive to coppery colored because of living lives of toil under the Athasian sun. Whatever shade their skin is, it is also completely hairless. However, some canon material, particularly Monsters Compendium art, suggests that some Muls, and for that matter some dwarves, have a small lock of hair on the crown of their heads. As for written evidence about whether or not moles grow any hair, page 14 of the Dark Sun Rules book from the original box set says, quote, "Most moles, whether male or female, have no hair or beard." End quote. The Age of Heroes from the revised box set adds, quote, "Moles look like large humans with a few obvious differences: prominent eye ridges, pointed ears, and no body hair." End quote. The mole entry in Terrors Beyond Tier echoes these by stating almost all moles, male and female, are bald. Using these sources, the possibility of facial or cranial hair cannot be entirely ruled out. However, in Terrors of the Desert, it does rule out facial and cranial hair entirely for moles. There it says, quote, "All moles, both male and female, have no head or facial hair of any kind." End quote. This is a small detail, but over the last 15 or 20 years there has been some debate as to if a mole with a top knot or a beard is canonically correct or not. That clears it up. This evidence shows that in 2nd edition at least, moles were completely hairless. Moving on, in most ways moles' faces resembled those of humans, but there are a few exceptions. Moles have heavy brow ridges and strong jaws, even among females. They also have ears with slight points. Much of the art featuring moles shows them with ritual keloid scars on their scalps and foreheads. This is not a congenital trait, though. It is a mark that the mole has successfully undergone a rite of passage, although this is not explicitly stated in any canon source, to the best of my knowledge. Role-playing a mole is like everything else about them, a mixture of possibilities from the two halves of their parentage. They tend to be stoic, determined, and pragmatic like their dwarf forebears. Many would say moles are stubborn, but they do not take it to the extreme of a dwarven focus. Like all races, moles are individuals, and thus have their own unique personalities. Moles often start play as slaves, so there very well may be some aspect of resentment for the wealthy because of their mistreatment at the hands of such people. While their stubborn and pragmatic side can be traced back to the dwarves, the rebelliousness that such resentment can foster is a more human-like trait. Moles have no great enmity for any other race in particular. If an individual of any race crosses a mole and survives, said mole is unlikely to forgive them, and will likely not consider the score settled until the offending parties have paid with their lives. This goes both ways, though. Moles have a tendency to make stalwart friends and allies. Having been bred for lives of bitter toil and deadly combat, moles have several advantages over many of the other playable races of Athas. Moles gain a +2 on their rolled strength and a +1 on their constitution. The other large advantage all moles have is their incredible endurance. They can stand extreme exertion for longer than any other player character race. Moles can perform heavy labor such as construction using heavy stone, quarrying, or running continuously for 24 plus their constitution score hours. Medium labor such as carpentry, mining, or jogging for 36 plus their constitution score hours. Light labor such as combat training or walking encumbered for up to 48 plus their constitution score hours. And normal activities such as walking, talking, or standing guard can be performed for the mole's constitution score in days. A mole's endurance also comes into play when forced marching, effectively increasing a player character's overland movement rate by 25%. They can force march for 20 hours, twice as long as all other player character races except Thrycreen, and are not limited to just 3 consecutive days of forced marching. Being this determined and resilient comes with a price for the moles. Many find a mole's single-mindedness off-putting. This results in moles suffering a -2 penalty to the charisma score rolled for them. Their other major advantage, their naturally high strength, has a negative effect on the mole's intelligence. They are so used to being able to apply the strength of their backs and the power of their fists to solving their problems that they rarely put much effort into developing their minds. This causes them to have a -1 penalty to their rolled intelligence. At At this point, if playing a Mul sounds like fun to you, go ahead and roll up your ability scores for your next PC. I have a video about rolling up ability scores. If you want to check it out, there's a link in the description below. Be sure to check with your dungeon master to see which method they allow in their game. Once we have your raw set of 6 ability scores, we can see if your PC has what it takes to become a Mul. They will need a raw strength between 10 and 20, a raw dexterity between 5 and 20, a raw constitution score between 8 and 20, and raw intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores between 5 and 20. Remember, your PC's scores must fall within these ranges before you add any racial ability adjustments. If your new player character scores do not fall within the range required for Muls, you may want to try another race. Humans are always an option. They have no restrictions as to their acceptable scores. Now, if your PC made the cut, let's move on to the next step, calculating racial ability score adjustments. All Mul PCs add 2 to their strength and 1 to their constitution, while subtracting 1 from their intelligence and 2 from their charisma. Now that you know your Mul's adjusted stats, you can move on to calculating their height, weight, and starting age. Male Mul's base height is 66 inches, while females start out just a tad shorter at 65 inches. The modifier for both sexes is 2d6 inches. The base weight for male Muls is 220 pounds, 180 for females, with a modifier of 5d20 pounds. The base starting age for Muls is 15, with a 1d6 year modifier. The maximum age will be rolled by your DM. This is the age that your Mul PC would die of old age if something like a Barog didn't get them first. As they age, time takes its toll on the bodies of all PC races. At the same time, they gather experiences that allow them to better use their heads to solve their problems. When your Mul PC reaches middle age at age 40, they will lose 1 point of strength and constitution, but gain 1 point of intelligence and wisdom. Old age sets in for Muls at 53. Passing this milestone comes with the loss of 2 points of strength and dexterity, as well as 1 point of constitution, while gaining only 1 point of wisdom. Finally, when your Mul turns 80, they lose 1 more point of strength, dexterity, and constitution, though they add 1 point to their intelligence and wisdom. Muls, like all non-human player character races, are limited in their choice of classes, and have some level caps in those classes that are available to them. They can choose from the following list of classes, level restrictions included: Cleric, 10th level; Druid, 12th level; Fighter, unlimited; Gladiator, unlimited; Psionicist, unlimited; and Thief, 12th level. These level limits may be exceeded if the exceeding level limits optional rules are used. They can be found on page 15 of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition Dungeon Master Guide 2100. The ability score requirements for classes available to Muls are as follows: Cleric, Wisdom 9; Druid, Wisdom 12, Charisma 15; Fighter, Strength 9; Gladiator, Strength 13, Dexterity 12, Constitution 15; Psionicist, Constitution 11, Intelligence 12, Wisdom 15; Thief, Dexterity 9. Players who choose to play multi-class Muls can choose from the following options: Fighter Thief, Fighter Cleric, Fighter Psionicist, Cleric Psionicist, Cleric Thief, Psionicist Thief, Fighter Thief Psionicist, and Fighter Thief Cleric. Single-classed Muls start at 3rd level in their chosen class. Multi-class Muls start with enough experience in each class to reach 2nd level in their most expensive class. For example, a Fighter Thief Cleric Mul would start play with 2,000 experience points in each class, making him 2nd level in all 3 classes, but only 500 experience points away from 3rd level as a Thief and 1,000 experience points away as a Cleric. Moving on to weapon and non-weapon proficiencies.
Muls have no limitations on the proficiencies they can choose except for those associated with their chosen class and the level they have attained. Muls speak the common trade tongue without having to spend a proficiency slot. Any additional language you wish your Mul PC to speak will have to be bought with non-weapon proficiency slots. For more information on non-racial skills and abilities, see Chapter 3 of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition Player's Handbook, as well as the same chapter in the Dark Sun Rules book or Age of Heroes. You may also find this information in some of the complete handbooks or in some of the Dark Sun accessories like Earth, Air, Fire, and Water or Dune Traders. Because Muls originate on Athas, they have wild talent psionic powers just like any other PC from the Dark Sun setting. Muls do not need to roll to unlock their psionic potential. Thus, they do not have to worry about one or more of their ability scores being lowered if such an attempt fails. Because they are Athasians, becoming a wild talent is inherent to their nature. The only exception to this is if your Mul becomes a fully fledged psionicist, in which case their wild talents are just part of the initial powers they start out with as a first level psionicist. To determine your Mul PC's wild talent powers, you can roll on Table 12, pages 20 and 21 of the Complete Psionics Handbook, or tables 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 in Appendix C of The Will and the Way on pages 90 and 94. The latter is the more complete table, and I would recommend it if it is available. Once you have determined what wild talent powers your Mul PC has, the next step is to calculate the number of psionic strength points they'll start out with. For example, say your Mul got molecular manipulation when they rolled for wild talents. Because this power has telekinesis as a prerequisite, he receives it as one of his wild talents as well. To calculate this Mul's psionic strength points, or PSPs, find the sum of his psionic power's initial costs. In the example, that would be 6 from molecular manipulation and 3 from telekinesis for a total of 9. Now add to that the sum of the minimum number of PSPs necessary to operate all the Mul's psionic powers for 4 rounds. In this case, that would be 24. 1 times 4 for telekinesis, plus 5 times 4 for molecular manipulation. Next, you add the sum of the initial costs to the sum of the maintenance cost times 4, and that gives us the Mul's PSP total at first level, which in this example equals 33 PSPs. After that, every time our Mul gains a level, he receives 4 new PSPs to add to his total. This means as a single-classed fighter, or any other class aside from Psionicist, he starts his adventuring career at 3rd level with 41 PSPs. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please like this video. If you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my further videos. If you still have any questions after watching this video, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Also, don't forget you can receive my newsletter with free gaming products just by signing up using the link in the description below. If you would like to support my work directly and get expanded access to it, you can by becoming a member of my Subscribestar or Patreon pages. Well, that's all for this one. Have a great day, and thank you for your support.